Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in once again. My name is Joanna M. Cameron. I'm a mental health therapist and a life coach, and I'm bringing you mental health tips and life coaching tools that are going to help you navigate through your everyday life. Today, I have a special guest with me, as you can see, and you are...
Dorian Randolph, and I am Joanna's fiance.
That's the first time that's actually ever been announced. You all are the first to ever hear that. We have been together for how many years?
9.
9 long years. 9 long good years. Most of them. So today we're going to talk about love and relationships because it's Valentine's Day, so why not? So I thought about plopping in an extra video and just kind of talking a little bit about how our relationship is and maybe how we're able to help somebody who's either looking for a relationship or help someone who's in a relationship to maybe make it better. We're not perfect by any means, trust me, but we've been together a really long time, and I think we do pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we know a little something about it.
I think so too. All right, so we're going to dive right in, and what we're going to talk about, or what the first topic I guess that I want to talk about is maybe what is it that keeps people from finding good relationships. And one of the things that I really think is important that oftentimes people miss is identifying what their non-negotiables are. And I think a lot of times what happens is people are looking or waiting for these perfect relationships when what they really need to do is just identify what they're not willing to negotiate on and stick with that. Nobody's perfect, obviously, but if you identify what your non-negotiables are and you're able to see that or see that potential in somebody, then that gives you hope, and that I think can take the relationship or the potential relationship to a good place. What are your thoughts on non-negotiables?
Well, in the profession that I'm in, non-negotiable typically means that you're not bending on that particular rule. So in relationship-wise, I understand having non-negotiables, but I think in relationships we tend to bend on some of our non-negotiables. So that's kind of how I think it is. Yes, it is important to have non-negotiables, but I do think when we're involved with someone, we tend to bend on those non-negotiables.
Okay, and I would probably tend to agree that people do bend. And I think that's probably where a lot of people's downfall is. When you're bending on those things that should be non-negotiable for you, that's when you find yourself in unhappy relationships, or you find yourself struggling with making the relationship, I guess, long-term, possibly, and it turns into one of those short-term relationships. That's just what I think. Like, for example, my non-negotiable when I knew that I was going to be looking for a relationship, or that I was ready or open to having another long-term relationship, I wanted somebody that was going to put me first and no questions asked. I wanted them to show me, I wanted them to tell me, and that's what I needed if I was going to commit myself completely to a new relationship. So, what did you do? I mean, do you have a non-negotiable? Do you feel like that kind of makes sense, or what are your thoughts in that sense of it, I guess?
Yeah, well, I think for me, I going in when I was ready to start a new relationship, I think going in I didn't really have non-negotiables. I wanted to kind of get to know the person first and see what they were about. I know one of my, I guess, non-negotiables, probably if I had to term it, that would have been support. Based on the profession that I'm in, I am a coach and a teacher, but with the coaching, there's long hours, there's a lot of time at the office instead of at home, and then even on the times that are weekends, which is usually couples time, sometimes I have a game, so therefore I'm missing out on that couple time. So I definitely needed someone who understood that and that was very supportive and understanding of that.
Okay, yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things that I think right off the bat, like starting off in our relationship, I mean, he wasn't as busy as he is now. So, that is definitely something I can understand that for him developed over time, and wanting somebody to be supportive, especially in understanding his long hours and things like that. And that didn't necessarily negate the fact that I needed to be a priority. I do understand that basketball is important for him and that coaching is definitely right at the top. But in regards to making sure that he makes time for me, he does a great job with that. And in regards to making sure he gives me time when he has free time. But then I also have to be understanding and not completely selfish in understanding that, his time is split at times. But he still does an extremely great job at making sure that he prioritizes our time, make sure he makes time for us. And, we do those couple things, like he said. Like weekends are couple time. So when he's not at a game or even through the week, we make sure that we have date nights.
Yes, a very important date night.
So, I think it's, that's important to make sure that you guys are communicating your non-negotiables to one another and making sure that a potential person that you're looking at as a potential mate for you can meet your non-negotiables. Maybe even if it's not right at the very beginning, like the first date that you go out with them, it's something that you see potentially developing. Like you do see that is something that they're willing to work into their life to make sure that your non-negotiable is able to be met. And that's something that you'll be able to determine, I think, pretty quickly in the relationship if that person has potential to meet that. Don't get so stuck on just having a relationship that you're willing to accept somebody who doesn't even come close to meeting what your non-negotiables are. Would you agree people do that sometimes?
Yeah, I think do that a lot, actually.
You want to speak some more on that? So you're saying you think people do that a lot, that they just take anything just for the sake of
for the sake of just feeling wanted. Just wanting to be wanted is usually something that humans need. So I think sometimes people do just accept sometimes anything just for the simple fact to say that somebody wants them or have that feeling of being wanted.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. So, just be careful that you're not just out there just accepting anything. Identify what your non-negotiable is and really stick to it. If you put that at the core, at the basis of your search, and you identify and connect with people who are willing or open to meeting that non-negotiable for you or already meet it for you, then you're off to a good start.
And I also think it's okay to have an open conversation with somebody about what some of the things are that you know that are your non-negotiables. So you kind of set the tone for what the relationship could be. So I think it's great to have that conversation. So it's kind of like you're setting that expectation and letting that person know kind of the things that you're looking for when you're starting to get serious about dating.
Absolutely. So communication, important. All right, and so the next thing that I think is also important is, ladies, stop waiting around for a man to approach you. So many women have this idea in their head that they can't be the hunters, that they can only be hunted. And I totally disagree with that. I love Steve Harvey to death. I'm a true Steve Harvey fan. I like a lot of stuff that he says. He knows that. But you have to understand that if there's something out there that you want, go for it. I know it can be uncomfortable sometimes to be the woman and make the first move, but you have to just think about it. Like, what's the absolute worst thing that can happen if you approach a guy or you give a guy the eye and he doesn't give you that same thing in return? You're not losing anything. You're not really losing anything. Yeah, it can make you feel a little uncomfortable, but you might also actually make a whole new connection. And I personally think that guys are just as intimidated sometimes as we are to make the first move. So I think by sitting back a lot of times, I think we miss out on potentially good connections. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think it's okay?
Yeah, I'm definitely down for women making that first move. I mean, think about it as think about it like life. Do you sit back and wait for that job to come? Do you sit back and wait for money to hit your bank account? No, you go out and get those things. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking that lead in all facets of life. I mean, if you see a guy that's intriguing to you, then what's the problem with going over and saying, hey? What's the problem with going over and getting a feel for what's going on with him? So I totally agree with that. You got to go after what you want. A lot of times you miss out on things by sitting there and waiting.
Yeah, so did you, and I know it's been a long time, but did you have a preference when you were dating? Did you prefer a woman to be more aggressive, or did you actually like to be the one to make the first move?
I think it goes both ways. I think sometimes I like to be the one to make sure my game is tight, as they say. So I like to be the one to make that first move, but at the same time, I like to feel wanted. So, like I told you, it's a human nature. It's just in human nature. So I like to feel wanted. So I would love to sit back and have a woman come approach me and see about me. So I think it's 50-50 for me. Some days I want to check and make sure my game is tight, and some days I want to sit back and be wooed by somebody.
Okay. And so, just to, I guess, bring it to our relationship, we have this little debate all the time about who made the first move. But I will say that he gave the first look, which caused me to make the first move. And that's the truth.
A look?
Yes.
What?
Yes. I was minding my own business, walking down a hallway, and he actually said something to me in a very flirty manner, mind you.
Here we go.
This story's gonna always be different. But
Always.
He said something to me very flirty. And
What did I say?
you said it's counselors. No.
I didn't even know that.
No.
You told me that. Exactly.
No. Actually, I was carrying a box. And didn't you say, do you have something in that box for me?
That's not how it started.
Okay.
Nope. That's not how it started. So how do you remember it?
Walking down the hall and you said it was counselor.
I didn't know it was counselor's week.
I know.
You told me.
I said it's counselor's week because you asked me for whatever I had in the box. I said
And
it's
you said
counselor's week.
Exactly.
I said, did you get me something? Or
Yes,
something like
exactly.
That.
So you started it.
But you were flirting with me because you said something to me first.
I said, no, I just asked a question. So we're two colleagues, adults walking the hallway, and I asked you about what you had in your hand. And you said it's a gift because it's counselor's week. And you said, do I have your gift? And I was like, oh, man, that's strong. And I said, no, but I'll get you something. So that's how it started. You asked for a gift right off the bat of meeting me without even knowing who I was yet. Exactly. So to go back to answer her question, she started it.
Anyways, he started the conversation. So ladies, just be mindful that if a man gives you a look, if he gives you a word, if he starts a conversation with you, that's your in. That's your in. So go for it. You don't have to sit around and wait for him to say, can I take you out? You don't have to wait for him to say, what's your number? If he says anything to you, which he did, he started the conversation, didn't know this man from Adam, wasn't paying him a bit more attention, and he's minding what's in my box. Why are you worried about what's in my box if you're not interested in me? You just mind your children that you have walking down the hallway, which is not what he did. So anyway, that's my point. I'm glad I could prove it. All right.
Will that I have this one.
All right. So before we wrap it up, I want to know, is there anything that you would suggest or recommend for couples who are in a relationship? What do you think makes us work?
There's a couple things. Communication is one, and I must say I've gotten better at communicating throughout the 9 years. I wasn't the best at the beginning, but I've gotten better with communication. So I think definitely that's one. Mm-hmm. That's number one at the top.
I agree.
Making time for one another. That would definitely be two. And keeping keeping it lively, as they said, as they say. I think that's keeping it interesting. I think that's definitely at the top of the list as far as, you know, being able to make a relationship work.
And how do you keep it interesting?
I mean, you gotta get outside your box. I mean, for me, I know I've done, you know, some real creative things. You know, definitely, I'm a holiday guy. So during the holidays, I definitely come up with some things that make you say, man. But you know, just doing things. I've gotten better at being able to do things when it's not the holiday, so it's not so expected, and she doesn't anticipate, you know, getting a gift of. So being able to do switch it up, I think that's definitely a very important thing. Is you got to be able to switch it up. Don't let it go so long that it becomes habit. You know, so definitely be able to switch it up, because once it becomes habit, then it becomes stale, and the relationship kind of goes stagnant. So definitely being able to switch it up and not just being, as I was, like a holiday guy.
Yeah, I agree with that, and definitely communication, like he said. I mean, that's huge, and that's obviously probably, as anybody who knows me and who's gotten to know me through these videos, communication is important. I like to talk. As you can see, so I need communication, and I like to solve problems before they become problems. So, you know, if I feel like something's off or feel like something's not right, I'm communicating that. And, you know, and I think one of the things that is helpful is having a partner that's open to listening, and, you know, somebody that you're able to talk to and work through those problems with. You don't have to wait until something blows up and becomes a big deal before you address it. We went to couples counseling. We actually, you know, did that and decided to go to couples counseling, and it wasn't like everything was terrible. It was just some things that, you know, maybe needed a little bit of oil. So we went and got some oil under our hood before things just, you know, completely broke down on our vehicle. And I think that helped us. I think it's stuff that we still, you know, use today, and, you know, I think that was a good thing. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, and I definitely was one of those guys that's counseling. Man, counseling, I ain't never going to no counseling. But after, you know, reevaluating and assessing, you know, the way our relationship could potentially be going, and, you know, I was open-minded to it, and I actually ended up booking the counselor through my job in the insurance, just to show her that I was definitely open to, you know, fixing what was wrong at the time. So yeah, I think counseling, and that's usually a stigma for men, and I guess you go either further and say black men not wanting to do counseling and talk about feelings and things of that nature. But I actually think it turned out very well. As you can see, we're still going strong, and that was in year 8. And we're on to year 9. So I think counseling with the therapy, the couples counseling definitely was a good idea, and I had to be open to it and let down my guard of not wanting to talk about feelings and things of that nature. And I think I learned a lot actually from counseling. So it was definitely a great asset to our relationship.
Yes. So, and we used his EAP, which, you know, I just talked about that in my last video. You know, it's definitely worth checking in to your company's employee assistance program, because therapy is out there for people, and it doesn't have to cost you a dime. Like, we didn't have to pay a dime out of our pocket for any type of therapy that we had through the EAP, and we had 7 sessions. And like I mentioned before, if another problem had arisen out of that, he could have went back and got 7 more sessions, you know, for a whole different problem. So therapy is available. So definitely check in your EAP. So don't feel like you don't have a resource when it comes to therapy. All right. So communication, spending time together. Anything else that you think?
Making time for each other, yes, and being not letting things become habit and get stale.
Yeah.
So being able to spice things up every now and then.
Definitely. So I think that's it. If anybody has any questions, and if you like this video, because I never did say it in the beginning, but want you to subscribe to this channel. And remember, this was a bonus, but he can come back. If you like him, would you come back?
Definitely. I think the camera actually likes me.
Oh my God. And be okay with a conceited man.
Confident, please. Wrong C word. Confident man.
Confident, conceited. You say conceited, I say no.
You
say
confident.
Confident, I say conceited. Tomato, right?
No, not really.
The exact
it's
same
tomato.
thing. Oh yeah, and I did want to add this before you go. I am funny, and that's what keeps us. That's what keeps us going. No, having somebody that has a sense of humor, somebody that you can laugh with, but don't I make you laugh?
You have your moments.
Oh my gosh.
You have your moments. I am the funnier of the two.
I make him laugh every single day. And I make me laugh, so that's important.
She definitely makes herself laugh.
Laughter is key. So you want to be able to laugh at yourself, you want to be able to laugh with your mate, and you want to be able to laugh with each other. That's the same thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's her idea of being funny. See how she's killing herself over here? Yeah, that's her idea of being funny.
And as long as the person you're with understands that you're the funnier one, everything's gonna be perfect.
And that's why she thinks this is perfect, because I'm the funnier one.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Joanna M. Cameron. This is
Dorian Randolph.
And we, one day, will get married. So don't leave comments asking when's the wedding, because we haven't set a date yet. But it'll be coming. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe.